balling all of that up, right? Those intense emotions, all that intensity, we feel like we're just going through the motions and we remain hurt, unhappy, anxious, burnt out, overwhelmed, scared. And we think that that's normal. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be your normal. Hey mama, welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self-awakening journey to learning your energy of alignment and feeling good again. This is your weekly sanctuary to wake up from autopilot and transform the way you approach motherhood and life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It's my mission to help you embody the foundations of self-love, trust, and inner connection to be unapologetic in the evolution of who you are. Here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light. If you are ready to get to the roots of cultivating real change, warm up that cold coffee, pop in your earbuds, and tighten that top knot, mama. Let's discover our power within together. What is up, beautiful? Welcome back to another episode of the Naturally Empowered Living podcast. This is your host, Jenna Smith, and I am so excited, thankful, all the feelings that you are here again for another episode and another chat, another heart-to-heart. I am just in such high anticipation. For one, I can begin to accept clients into my root cause therapy practice. I am just so smitten to be able to add another offering, another modality to be able to best serve you, like to add something else to my toolbox to be able to serve you in the capacity if you feel so called to receive. And if you haven't caught last week's episode 111, Understanding Trapped Energies, How Emotions Shape Your Reality in the Path to Self-Healing, or episode 109, Beyond the Surface, How Energetics, Root Cause Therapy, and Instinctive Meditation Transform Self-Healing, you can go back to listen to those if you want to get more of like an in-depth explanation of what I'm currently being certified and practicing for my clients, for serving you, adding to my toolbox to help you in your self-awakening journey, to just bring your healing journey one step deeper, like another layer deeper. Like, gosh, even in my opinion, so many layers deeper, because we're getting to that root cause of why we might not be able to seem to kick a habitual cycle that seems to not be serving us anymore, or finally answering that question of why do we keep continuing to get sucked back into these, vices or these coping mechanisms that aren't serving us anymore, or finally facing that trauma that we've thought we've buried so down deep to never face again. However, it's still showing up its intense face more than we'd like to, and it balling all of that up, right? Those intense emotions, all that intensity, we feel like we're just going through the motions and we remain hurt, unhappy, anxious, burnt out, overwhelmed, scared. And we think that that's normal. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be your normal. So to summarize the last couple episodes, just in a quick, as I already have been, in a quick few sentences, it's just so important. So important. If you take anything away from these episodes, from Naturally Empowered Living, it's finding your self-love, your self-trust, and self-connection again. And it's how important it is to connect with yourself, your body, your emotions for your self-healing and transformation. And when we don't or aren't able to process that emotion that we've been feeling, or if we experience a specific event or circumstance, or within our upbringing, within our lives, if that emotion or that energy gets stuck within our bodies and compounds and becomes denser and denser over time, because every time that we have a similar experience or have that same feeling or emotion again and again, it compounds again, gets more stuck and compounded and dense within, wherever that energy got stuck within in the first place. It grows and it gets more compounded. Like I shared in last week's episode, like that visual of just like almost like cement, that wall being built around this energetic ball. And so soon, I will be able to professionally help you release the compounded energies within your body so you could break that cycle, that pattern, that habit, that continuation of attracting that same negative situation into your life, to heal that trauma, to transmute that emotion, for you to finally feel free, to step into your authentic path, to feel good again, to feel like you again, to open that door for your life and to step into that self-awakening. Like whatever you feel called, wherever your intuition is saying, is speaking to you right now, all these things embody that core here of realigning with our innate essence, of feeling peace, and presence and confidence and clarity and belief and joy and love and balance within our lives. So today's chat, we are going to cover 5 questions of why that you can ask yourself when you're in a pinch for time and you want to feel good now, or you want to have self-awareness now. Maybe you're anxiously awaiting scheduling the Over at Cause session with me. Like, you could do these things to connect with yourself a little bit more in the meantime. Or maybe you're waiting for a more in-depth healing session within a different modality and just the timing isn't right or what have you. And you just want a couple more tools within your toolbox of awareness and intentionality. I got you, sister. Like, let's jump in. These 5 questions you can get really good at asking yourself because they're going to help you connect with yourself on a deeper level and spark your subconscious mind that you are open and ready to heal in this capacity. And I want to preface all of this. I know I have a disclaimer on every episode on the description of the show. This is not my professional advice right now. Okay, we're not in a one-on-one session. I am not informing you of any professional therapy type setting. This is a heart-to-heart, mom-to-mom, woman-to-woman. If you are in a container where you feel safe and ready to start connecting with yourself on this deeper level, if you feel this sense of an awakening and not sure what the hell is going on within your life and you need these first steps, right? I'm not saying this is a 0 to 100, one and done. You know, we have our life work. We have our shadow work. We talk about this all the time on the show. And once we're able to get into that root cause therapy session together, that one-on-one session, that one-on-one container, I do hold other one-on-one, containers too, but where we could hold this safe space together, that is when I will feel confident in fully helping you release these unprocessed emotions and transmuting this stuck energy, okay? Right now, this episode, I'm not asking, telling, nor suggesting that you try to do the practice that is within the scope of a certified professional within these words of this episode, okay? Giving that disclaimer. All right, so these are solely for yourself, for your self-discovery, for your self-journaling, reflecting. These prompts are for you. And most likely, these are tips that you've already heard before. I know that this is going to be nothing new, but hopefully it's going to open your eyes a little bit, maybe bring it from a different perspective, through a different lens. You know that we are all about thinking differently here in the naturally empowered living space, okay? So why number 1 to ask yourself is, why the trigger? What is the trigger? Why am I feeling this trigger? Your triggers are the largest keys to finding your root causes because it's bringing that awareness back, right? When you experience an emotion or a physical sensation that seems too large or just out of place for a situation, you may be experiencing or re-experiencing a situation where you're triggered by something that has happened in the past and you refelt, that said emotion. Like, this is digging into your roots, right? A trigger can be anxiety or anger or overstimulation or lashing out. It could also be a feeling of pressure, like a physical feeling of pressure, a pit in your stomach. Like, the key here is that it doesn't belong to the present situation. So when you bring awareness to the situation, the present is simply triggering your root work to react, to be seen, to be felt, and to be worked through and processed. So a trick here to continue to ask yourself, I know that I've shared this already on the show within the last few episodes, is to continue to ask yourself, why? Like, why am I feeling this way? So for example, if you're feeling like a physical sensation of tightness in your chest, okay, why am I feeling this? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so why? Well, I have a to-do list the length of my arm and something just got added to it. Well, why? Well, because it's my life and I always end up taking on too much. Why? Well, I have trouble saying no due to fear of disappointing someone or something else. Well, why? Because I lack confidence in clearly communicating and setting boundaries to manage expectations with others. Boom. There's the root. So by listening to your overwhelm, to that physical sensation, rather than shoving it under the rug, continuing to burn yourself to the ground, you have a clear, rooted trigger that you can now explore further. You're lacking confidence in clearly communicating, setting boundaries, managing expectations with others, and now you could explore it and move forward in working with it and processing that. Why number 2? Why your judgments? Who am I judging? What am I judging? Why am I judging? Like, look at your judgments. The people that we judge the most can often teach us about our roots, right? About like maybe lessons or things that keep coming up for us. Like, what we despise or reject in someone else may simply be viewed as a mirror of what we despise or reject within ourselves. And this pathway, when you bring awareness to it and when you see it through this lens, it's a pathway that it's a tough one. It's a tough pathway because we have to get really honest with ourselves. And it's very challenging to admit sometimes that we possibly can share common energies with people who might trigger us or who we, feel anger towards or have judgments towards. But when you turn that mirror on yourself, you could come back to that self-awareness and that self-discovery of what's truly going on. Why number 3? Why the feeling? Better yet, firstly, allow yourself to feel, okay? Root cause work requires the ability to feel your emotions. Often though, we don't allow ourselves to feel anything, right? We're so quick to shove it under the rug. We're so quick to numb with a vice. We might feel shame about our emotions or they feel too intense. And when we don't allow ourselves to feel, that's how we allow these energies and these emotions to become stuck energy, being fueled by the next time that we feel that same feeling or have that same situation that prompts that same feeling, and we don't allow it to process again. And then it gets compounded within ourselves. And it gets stuck. It remains stuck and grows and gets denser and denser. So be open to your feelings and emotions that come up for you. And if your emotions become too intense, of course, take a break. Of course, listen to yourself. Rely on your support system, right? Give yourself a safe space. Rely on practices that bring you peace and balance and calm. But try, though, to sit with your emotions and learn from them without judgment, instead of continuing to shove it under the rug or suppress or repress it. There's no shame in any emotion. I feel like we always fear the judgment, the external judgments, or even internal judgments from ourselves. We fear the external pressures, what other people are going to think of me. There's no shame in any emotion. Granted, shame, yes, is an emotion in itself. So I'm not talking about that emotion itself. I'm talking about the vulnerability to feel the feelings that shouldn't feel shameful. Okay, we're all human. We all have a wide variety of feelings. That does not make us unlovable or unworthy. Have compassion for yourself. Have space for yourself, free of judgment. It's okay to feel. It's what you do with that feeling that matters, right? I tell my 5-year-old that all the time. You're going to feel angry, but it's the response that you take with that anger. Throwing something is not okay, right? The anger is okay. So give yourself that nurturing, that acknowledgement to shift this into something, right? Instead of destructive behavior. Accept them and know that you can transform them. This is definitely something, all of these things, right? All of this we can unpack in a root cause therapy session by performing muscle testing and meditations and energy work. And I'm just so excited. I've been in such a creative space lately going through this certification because I just feel like it's pulling things from my past learnings and it's connecting so many dots. And I feel like I've said that because I just finished, obviously, the instinctive meditation certification, a little bit ago. And it's just the connecting of the dots. It's just so profound. Okay, moving on. Number 4. Why number 4? Why the emotion covering the emotion? Possibly better worded as look for the emotion behind the emotion. When you are experiencing these feelings or emotions, sit with it. Have a conversation with it. Just as you would, anything else, have that internal conversation with yourself. You may find the primary or foundational root emotion is not what you're actively feeling on the outside, right? So often we initially feel in a situation or a circumstance what we're feeling in that situation. It's not the root emotion. It's not the real emotion that you're feeling. It's a strategy. It's a survival mechanism that we develop to deal with and avoid the root cause. That wall that was built up around that stuck energy, it can carry emotions of protection. And some of our emotions are simply that, just that the survival mechanism. And they're clever. It's so clever because, your subconscious mind, it does want to protect you, but it also does want to help heal you too, right? But that's not the real emotion that we detached from in the first place. So an example is if you were made to feel guilty for feeling sad as a child, because it maybe made a parent upset or, whatever it was. If you were made, being sad wasn't okay. You may have packed sadness away, and that's that root cause, or that's that root emotion. So you disassociated from it. And maybe you even removed your ability to feel sad. Again, there's many layers to this. So when, now you're an adult, and when that situation develops later in life, that you typically, would normally bring on that feeling of sadness, you feel anger instead because you replaced that emotion. It's not okay to feel sad, so I'm going to feel angry instead. And that may even project, your anger onto other people or things, or, that's a whole other rabbit hole, right? That's a whole other mountain there. So if you give yourself the space to sit and talk with your anger, like hypothetically speaking, right? You could physically, actually talk, or in your mind, or whatever feels right to you. If you actually sit with yourself and ask, what is this showing me? What is going on here? When you actually slow down enough to connect with yourself and listen, you may find that sadness is what you packed away so long ago. And instead of feeling, this anger emotion of protection, you might finally be able to feel the sadness and to release that, emotion to begin with, to break up that stuck energy, to then again allow your emotions to flow freely. And you might be able to feel sadness and accept that emotion as part of you. This process, it could work with anything. I know that I use sadness as an example, but again, going back to last week's episode, emotions go through us like a wave, right? And I just started talking to my 2-year-old daughter about this because she's very much like me. I've always been a very emotional person, very, very emotional. And she's 2.5. So of course, the temper tantrums are strong. And we're in you hear, or if she hears no, she completely loses it over anything, right? Doing anything on time, getting any sort of routine, no, it's out the window. But it's just been, we're in that difficult phase, right? And I forget how I brought up the concept to her, because again, she's 2.5. But I started talking to her what are you feeling? She would say sad or angry or whatever. Where are you feeling that? And it's so cute. She'll sometimes point to her chest. Sometimes she'll point to her stomach. And then I talk to her and I say, let it flow freely. Let it go through you. Let it keep going. And I never told her, let it come out your toes. And last night, of course, bedtime, she lost it. And I finally got her, to sit on the potty, to go potty. And she goes, Mommy, I'm calm now. And I go, well, that's great. What happened? Well, how do you feel calm? And she goes, my anger went out my feet. It flowed out my feet. And I got teary eyed. I was like, oh my gosh. But it's so true. That was a complete tangent, but I just had to share that because it was that pivotal moment of, I visualized that flowing wave through my 2-year-old's body of, I said, and you feel good now? She goes, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. And then she went to bed. It was amazing. So, okay, there's that. Why number 5? Why the rainbow of emotions? You know that we are big into awareness and intention of our lives within this space, of naturally empowered living. Awareness intention is huge. So you bet your bottom that awareness comes with accepting the rainbow of feelings and emotions that we feel continuously throughout our lives. In order to fully unpack and process our root causes and take away their ability to subconsciously control us, we must be aware of them and accept them. We must accept them as part of ourselves and love them. And I know that might not be easy to hear, but love them just as, we love the rest of ourselves. And I know that I'm not saying that to sound rah-rah, but it's the self-acceptance, right? The self-acceptance of honoring all of ourselves. And our roots, they represent our wounds, our shadows, our traumas, and they simply want to be acknowledged and accepted. And there may be pieces of yourself that feel out of place or rogue or rebellious, but what they want is acceptance, just to be seen. So being aware and accepting of your emotions and of your feelings and who you are is the only way to ensure that you don't sabotage yourself, right? And continuously sabotage your dreams and, continue on this just repetitive cycle that isn't serving you and ruining your relationships or taking away your energetic resources. Rather, you're freeing yourself. You're freeing your energy to create your highest intentions, to step into your energy of alignment. So with those 5 whys, why the trigger, why the judgment, why the feeling, why the emotion behind the emotion, why the rainbow of emotions, I invite you to begin reflecting on yourself, on your own life, on your triggers, your judgments, your emotions. You can begin exploring in the moments, like in the present awareness, if you have the present awareness when something is actually happening, or if you don't feel that capacity or that would like overwhelm you even more right now, that's fine. Take that step back and create times during your meditation, during your journaling, during your prayer, during your exercise, like in those times of your personal connection. And if you want to schedule a free clarity call with me, I encourage you to do so. We can start with some just foundational guidance. We can explore, identify any obstacles or feelings that you're struggling with, emotions that you're struggling with that might be hindering your life. We can have a heart-to-heart and get you into how a specialized approach can benefit you in your self-healing journey. I'm always here for you and cannot wait to continue to grow and evolve together. Until next week, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and be unapologetic in who you are. I'm sending my love and so much light.
Did you find this episode relatable or empowering? Please read my love of video.
Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. I pray this episode has brought you a step closer to tuning into your energy of alignment. And if it has, please consider leaving a written review sharing how this show has impacted you. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps other moms find their way to this community. And if it feels right, please share this episode with another mom who might be struggling to remind her that she's never alone. Be sure to check the show notes for more ways to connect and explore how we could work together to reclaim your power and deepen your relationship within. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.